as a show, and they're all about it.
Cool.
So we just got to coordinate.
So we're live, all the way live.
Mm-hmm. As the show, and they're all right. Yeah. Well, I guess we're still waiting on one more potential, but we're gonna go ahead and get the show started.
Yeah, probably just better to do that.
Yeah. If he shows up, he shows up. We'll see. Yeah. We shall see. All right. Get it going. And welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, to the Third Generation Wrestling Podcast, 3GW. And you can see got some enhancements going, or we brought them back, so to speak. This is something I've been trying to, get accomplished for a while now, bringing back the green screen effects. And, our third man, MJ Book, this was his thing. And I was telling Rob before we came on here, that was something I never asked him to do. He just kind of did it, but it just like him being an extra part of the show and adding something to the show, he also added these effects and equipment. So a huge shout out to Rob for even bringing me part of the equipment, the stand, and then I ordered the green screen myself. But this is a proud moment for me to be using MJ Book's equipment. He left us something behind, and we just glad to just take it further, because I would have never thought to do any of that. It all came from him. I take zero credit for that, but I'm going to do my best and take his spirit and what he brought to us into the future. But anyway, how you doing, sir?
Man, I'm doing good. Doing good this weekend. I don't know if we should talk about it right now, but we got tickets to another show, upcoming show coming up.
Okay. We got to talk about it.
All right. Everybody knows one of the biggest pay-per-views of 2021, really of all time, was All Out. And tickets for the 2022 edition went on sale. A pre-sale happened Thursday to the general public on Friday. I tried to get tickets through the pre-sale. I could only get through on platinum tickets, which were extremely overpriced. On Friday morning, I tried to get standard tickets, which were available, but quickly sold out. But I did not give up. I kept trying. And then around 2:30 in the afternoon, I got my hands on some limited view tickets not on the floor, but in the 100 section, right after the floor. And so Big E and I, we are going to be in the house. The tickets were twice as expensive and twice as hard to get. But hey, we are going to be there. We're going to cover the show. We're going to, I don't know if they're going to have another pre-show like they had last year, but anything they have going on, we're going to do our best to cover as much of it as possible. But we are definitely in the house.
In the house, man. And just like last year, huge shout out to the ambassador for getting the tickets. He's the ticket man. We got everybody in the crew got their own task. You got Blake, the inside man. He brings the news.
Oh man,
seems like he's always ahead of everybody with that. And Rob, man, you always got the tickets. I try to do my best with the editing, the uploading. And Doc, well, Doc's Doc.
Hey man, but you know what? It all works. It's all part of the ingredients that makes up this recipe that we like to call 3GW, Third Generation Wrestling.
Yes, sir. And something we haven't done in a while, which is a retrospective. And I felt like it was only appropriate. I threw out a few ideas. I know we've been talking Marine for a while, but this seems more appropriate, especially considering what the main event is next week, even though we're kind of tired of this shit, to say the least. But SummerSlam 2002 is what we decided on, what we are going to hear review. And I know back in the day when this era, 2002, Brock Lesnar hadn't been on the roster very long. I know that he reminded me of. It's kind of hard not to separate the two, but he looked like Goldberg, and he was built the same way, jacked up, traps to his ears, just dominating. I'm like, who is this guy? And I just remember this was after, I believe this was after, yeah, it was after Scorpion King. And Scorpion King came out in 2001. So this was after Scorpion King. I believe The Rock had already shot Walking Tall. He was just kind of, and he was shooting the rundown around this time. So um he was getting into Hollywood, like Hollywood was really starting to feel him. And we're gonna get into it when the match comes up, but the fans also knew. So we'll talk about that. Do you remember watching this back in? I know this show's 20 years old, so I don't know.
I'm sure I do remember watching it. Like I said, I've seen pretty much all of the top WWE pay-per-views, especially of the 2000s. But I mean, look, I'm older. I go back to the 80s. And once again, I'm going to bring up Billy Joe's Picture Show, where Mike and I used to meet and watch all of these shows. But like you said, it has been over 20 years or 20 years. Yeah, and so years. I didn't remember all of it. Yeah. There's the VHS tape. For those that don't know, that's a VHS tape. That's how we used to have to watch these things.
Yeah, I remember going to the video store and renting this very tape. And that's I was younger back then, so that was how I watched a lot of pay-per-views on VHS, because I didn't, when parents weren't buying pay-per-views. So yeah, that was my experience with especially this one and a few other SummerSlams.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I saw it live, because SummerSlam, for me, I know they're trying to make Money in the Bank part of the quote unquote big five. For me, there's a big four, but my favorite in order: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam. So those were can't miss. Never missed any of those. Really, I didn't miss any SummerSlams either, or excuse me, Survivor Series. I may have missed some of the lesser cards, but for the most part, Mike and I would meet at Billy Joe's and watch all of these shows. It was only $10 to get in. It was a great atmosphere. And yeah, so I know that I saw it, but, and I don't mean to sound like I'm some sort of wrestling historian, but I've seen so many cards and matches that you just tend to forget after so many years.
Oh, no, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't.
I'm even at the point where I don't remember every card I've seen.
Yeah, because I haven't revisited this show, so a lot of it was not familiar to me until I watched it back, and I was like, oh yeah,
for sure. But this is one of those matches, and we're going to talk about it later. It's the main event, obviously, but it was always like the Brock versus Rock. Like it was a humongous deal. And I tried to scour YouTube and find some clips that kind of led up to this event, and I found those. I still love that Rock promo he cut on Brock and Triple H and Paul Heyman. Like he got all of them in one promo and killed it. This was the most intense Rock I remember. And I don't know. I think he was really pulling from a natural place, because the fans knew that he was headed towards Hollywood, I think. And he was just not even really being heelish, but just being honest how he felt.
Yep, I agree. I mean, one of the greatest ever as far as promos. Rock is up there. I mean, definitely top 5, maybe top 2 or 3. I mean, you got to put Dusty Rhodes in there, but The Rock, I mean, is just truly one of the greatest ever.
Yep. And we're going to kick off this here pay-per-view. Get into it right now with the first match. Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio. And I thought that this was a great match. That just go ahead and play my hand now. Kurt comes out. This is before Kurt had the pyro. You know what I'm saying? This is heel Kurt. You suck, Kurt. The you suck transfer there. And he had guaranteed he was going to break Ray's ankle. Ray's music hits. He comes and attacks Angle from behind. And, we got these. They go back and forth. This match was this was great. I thought this was probably to be a retrospective. I'm sorry, this was one of the best matches I've seen all year. This match is 20 years old, and I can clearly see. Maybe I couldn't see it back in the day. I see why you and Book would be fans of Kurt Angle. Dude could go. I mean, he could really go, and he had the personality to match the wrestling. So it just it makes a whole lot of sense why y'all would like the guy. But Mysterio, always a fan of Rey Mysterio, going back to WCW. This guy back then, he had those springs in his legs. That freaking flip he did out to the outside of the ring, not just over the top rope, but over the referee too on the Kurt Angle. Insane, stuck the landing. Ray hit a 619 in a West Coast pop, but Angle was able to kick out. Most of the matches, Angle trying to work that ankle, get the ankle lock. Mysterio did go for a top rope Rana, but Angle was able to counter with into the unbreakable ankle lock, and then Ray does eventually tap out. And the crowd was so hyped for this match, and they were hanging on every move that they did, and so was I. I thoroughly enjoyed this match, and I had a feeling just looking at the card that these two would tear it up, and they did. One of the best matches on the card, and it is what it is. I gave it superb. I thought it was fantastic. One of the best matches, again, like I said, that I've seen all year. And this match is 20 years old.
Right. Well, man, I feel the same way you did. I mean, this is what you want on a big show like this. You want to start hot. And I mean, what better way to start than with these two guys? Like you said, Kurt Angle can go. And of course, we know Rey Mysterio can go. And certain wrestlers, when they work together, they just have a chemistry. And these guys, they both had it. They just worked well together. I mean, it was a great match. I am curious, though, what was the time on this match? Because maybe I was just enjoying it too much. It felt a little short. I wanted more. I was enjoying it so much. And I felt like it ended a little suddenly. And I wanted more.
I didn't feel it was short.
It probably went, I'm guessing 10, 11 minutes, but I felt like, I felt like if they could have given us 3 or 4 more minutes, I mean, this could have gone into instant classic territory. I agree with you on that one. Yeah, but I like you. I'm going to go superb. But
9 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, see, that's short. I mean, it was great, but 3 or 4 more minutes of what these guys were doing, because man, there's so many more things they could have done. This could have easily been an instant classic, but still superb.
Yeah. It's just and the other thing I noticed with this, I was paying attention really throughout the night, like the format of this show, really close to what they do now. They really haven't changed their formula. 8 matches, promo segments, backstage segments after every match. And there was even more that they just didn't have, that we just didn't get to see on the Peacock version, because they just edited that stuff out. Like I know Paul Heyman was talking about I guess they were promoting the Hulk Hogan DVD or something like that. Not that we want to see that shit anyway, but I'm just saying to say that WWE really hasn't changed in 20 years as far as putting a show together on the base level. So, all right. After that, had your man, who I forgot was on the card.
How could you forget the Nate?
The Nate.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
My GOAT.
Nature Boy Ric Flair taking on Y2J, Chris Jericho. And I gotta say, Chris Jericho, man, he came out. I forgot. He was jacked at one point in time, brother. He was jacked.
Yeah.
Ric Flair at the time, for people that are curious and wondering, like, man, Ric Flair, he was 53 at the time.
Yeah.
And I thought the match started really well. Flair doing, the Flairisms.
Yeah.
When Jericho threw him into the corner, it seemed like it took forever. He flipped quick, but it took forever for him to come back down. That's right. Well, he's 53. Like, okay. You get the normal Flair stuff, the knife edge chops, all that good stuff. And I thought it was interesting that Flair threw Jericho off the top rope instead in this match. I thought that was interesting. And but man, somewhere along in this match, it lost some steam. I don't know what happened. I think once they got into doing the submissions, maybe that's where it kind of lost me. Them going back and forth, like Jericho using the figure four. That, I don't know why, that just didn't work for me. And then right after, you had Flair putting the hold on him. Oh, and this was the other thing, the biggest thing in the match that threw me off. So you had Jericho put the figure four on Flair, and Flair grabbed the rope and then tapped out.
Yeah.
Which was like, what are we doing? I didn't understand. It's like, well, if you got the rope, it's not no disqualification match. He's got a break. Why you tap? Whatever. Flair does win with the figure four, taps out Jericho. A lot of submissions on this match, on this card, I should say. I'm going to give the match TV quality. For me, it started off well, and like in pay-per-view, I was there. It just went down, but I didn't think it was terrible. I think they still told the story. Yeah, I kind of wanted to see a little more aggression because they show in the video package, the bloody Flair and all the fighting they were doing and the stuff with the
he destroyed
Fozzy's
instruments and amps.
Yeah. So this should have been like a no DQ match, honestly, but yeah, TV quality for me.
Yeah, well, everybody knows how I feel about Ric Flair on this podcast, and I guess in a couple of weeks from yesterday, he's actually going to have.
Yeah, he said. I saw the post today. He was lacing his boots. He said 3 weeks. So.
Well, okay, then it must have been. He must have filmed it a week ago because it's actually 2 weeks away.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, but look, but by the time this part of his career, Flair was pretty much a caricature of his old self. I mean, we knew what we were going to get from him. We were going to get what I like to say, the chop, the flop, the rack, and then the climb to the top rope only to be body slammed by his opponent. Now, the latter, he actually flipped the script with Jericho on that, but we saw the flop, the chop, we saw the rack, and like you, I'm going to go TV quality because to me, everything pretty much was predictable about this match. Now, I think the attempt by Jericho to do the figure four, and then I think that was just an attempt to build up drama. The same with Flair trying to grab the rope. I think they thought that would build up drama or intrigue. To me, it didn't. It just looked quirky to me. It just didn't work. It didn't add to the match. And like you, I think it could have worked with the stipulation. We know Flair's a good bleeder. I wouldn't mind seeing it get a little nasty and seeing a little blood. I think that would have helped. Like you said, considering the buildup to the match. I just really thought that this was disappointing, and I didn't think that the ring work was anything special. So yeah, I went TV quality, and might have been lucky to get that.
Oh, damn. Yeah. I don't know. He looks so much, I guess, because when you're 73 and I'm seeing you versus 53, you look so much younger. And not to say that he looked bad. It's just,
I didn't think his physical appearance looked bad, and I didn't. But you could just, like I said, his in-ring work wasn't what it used to be back in the day when he would wrestle Dusty or Sting or Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Like I said, flop, chop, rack, and climb to the top rope, get thrown to the mat. That's basically, those were his 4 things. And yeah, we saw 3 of those tonight. And that doesn't make for, great wrestling.
No, here's the winning shot right there. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, this is in Flair's latter days. He was 53. This was, well, it wasn't the best we were going to get, because you and I were at 24 a few years later when he laid it all out there, him and Shawn, and that was a great match. So
6 years later.
yeah. Can you believe that? 6 years later, and he looks so much better in that match than he did in this one.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember at this time he was kind of in between being a manager, being a wrestler, being general manager, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he wasn't wrestling consistently.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. After that, we got Edge and Latino Heat.
The late great
Guerrero, which, we've been seeing the new video package on Raw lately, with featuring pretty much everybody on this card. Kurt Angle to Eddie. We saw the Jeff Hardy armbands, and we've seen all the other. We saw the Mick Foley vest, the flannel shirt on fire. So it's obviously Edge. So,
yeah.
At this point. But the cool thing that I noticed, I forgot that Edge had, was his interest music, because I guess I forget that he changed it a couple times between when he was a Christian and he found, the one he uses, well, the one he used before he turned heel recently. And it was this Rob Zombie track, Never Gonna Stop. And I looked it up today. I was like, oh, I forgot he had that. And I remember the beat and everything. A lot of people's music were different on this show. Even Flair. Flair didn't really have his traditional music either.
Yeah.
But this match, to me, I was glad to see it. But I don't know about you, but I feel like the shoulder injury that he was trying to sell felt forced. It felt, because he went through the ropes and then he landed outside, and ever since then he sold the shoulder. And then all right, kind of lost me here. The frog splash to the arm, like, really? That's what we doing. I guess I was expecting more. I was actually expecting the same thing we got from Rey and Kurt, because this is Eddie. This is Edge in his prime. Edge looks like he does now, and this was 20 years ago. Dude's ripped to the bone. And of course, Eddie is. I don't know. I guess I just wanted more. I had higher expectations for this match than what I got. So again, Edge did win with the spear, but I still have to give it a TV quality, because I thought it just didn't quite make it to what a pay-per-view match would be. I would expect this on a SmackDown or a Raw, and it would probably, I would say, yeah, this was great for a Raw SmackDown, but for pay-per-view, not quite. And that's being a little critical, but same time, I think it's fair.
Yeah, I was disappointed in this match. When they announced that this was the match coming up, I had vague memories of it, but I'm thinking, wow, Eddie Guerrero against Edge. And I remember that rivalry and how fierce it was. And I know these guys are both great wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
But no, man, this match did not do it for me. And like you, I sometimes the chemistry just isn't there, I guess. I expected a whole lot more.
Mm-hmm.
This match did not draw me in. I didn't even really have a rooting interest. I don't even remember who I rooted for at the time. I'm guessing it was maybe Eddie, but as I'm watching it tonight, I just really didn't care, and that's terrible. It's Edge. It's Eddie. I should care. I should be intrigued and I should be interested in this match, but it didn't work for me. So, man, I'm going to be worse than you. I'm going middle of the road, because for me, this was such. It's not that the in-ring work was so terrible, but I guess I was so disappointed. I expected so much more, and I felt let down.
I can definitely understand. Yeah, it didn't hit like I wanted it to. Like that, I really thought that this would bang just like the first match, but
yeah,
it was not to be. Was not to be, and unfortunately, it only got a little worse. Because yeah, the Un-Americans versus Booker T and Goldust. They had a backstage promo before this whole thing kicked off, and it was god awful. Christian and Lance Storm, he might be a good technical wrestler, and he might be able to run a wrestling school and all that, but he could not cut a promo to save his damn life. Sorry. This should have been to get the crowd invested. They should have had Booker T and Goldust do something backstage. It was always better. It was always funnier, and they didn't do that, and that was a mistake. I was just I don't know. I had bad feeling going into the match. Good to see Booker T back in his prime, and Goldust coming out to the "Can you dig it?" And I was bored. Oh, I was bored until Booker T got the hot tag, came in and brought some life. Obviously, it was it was Booker T. He was hyped up. Hit the double super kick, hit the missile drop kick, and he just did all his offense. And then of course he had to hit the spinneroonie. Everybody wants to see the spinneroonie.
I was calling for it.
Yeah, even though watching him back now as an adult, I'm kind of like, man, this is kind of racist. But all right, everybody, let's stop. Let the black man get his dance on. But it was over, so that's really why. But I had serious issues, not with Test running in. I could see that coming a mile away. All it took was a big boot to pin Booker T. Like, that's it. Not a belt shot to the face, not a chair, not anything. The ref is already down. Well, even though the king thought the ref saw what happened, but whatever. But that's all it took. Yeah. The Un-Americans did retain. And unfortunately, I have to go.
Because this was did you borrow that from Book?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, man. We missed it, brother. It's nice to see that. I haven't seen that since he passed.
I had to go get this one.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have an occasion for you to have one of his other ones. We'll have to wait and find out on that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to be a little nicer, but only a little nicer. Once again, I'm going to go middle of the road. Like you said, the best thing about this match was the hot tag to Booker T and the spinneroonies and the kicks, all that. Everything else, first of all, like Lance Storm, man, trained in Stu Hart's dungeon, from Canada, and I like Lance Storm, but like you said, just never could just really get over. Just a decent technical wrestler, but just kind of a boring character. Christian's still doing it today, as we know, in AEW. I just was never a big Christian guy. I thought he was better when he was with the Brood or with Edge. In this tag team, the Un-Americans, he kind of had to take the lead, and I don't think that worked because, like I said, I'm just not really engaged by Christian, although I think the work he's doing on AEW currently is pretty good. I think he's being a very good heel over there. But yeah, I didn't really care about this match. I actually forgot about the Un-Americans until I watched this show back. But yeah, I'll go middle of the road. But it for me, it did hover around bullshit. But I'll go middle of the road.
It was there for me.
Oh yeah. Obviously.
Oh man. Okay, so from there, we had I don't know how many people remember WWE New York. I remember this was kind of like their go-to, and I always wanted to go when I was younger, so I could be there, and I felt like it would probably be a lively crowd to experience all that, and sometimes they would have WWE wrestlers there, and you'd be like, okay, yeah, that's cool, and when they cut to it, they always show the outside first, and I'm like, okay, so who's hanging out? Usually have like a B, at least a B plus player, not this time. You got Jamie Noble, old country ass, and Nydia, who's just, man, this was a product of that time. It is not a good look, especially with all the shit going on right now. She's on stage with these two randos, and Jamie Noble back there. Hey girl, which one of these boys you want to make out with? We promised y'all we was gonna make out with somebody. This was awful. This was terrible. And then from there, you cut to Eric Bischoff and Stephanie McMahon in the GM office, because back then there was a brand split. This is when the brand split really first kicked off, and they're having a discussion about women's positions in certain things, and Stephanie's like, well, a woman's spot is on top. And I'm just like, oh god. Okay. 2002. Yeah, I remember. After that, had the Rabid Wolverine. Whew. Chris Benoit versus Rob Van Dam for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, I don't know why, but I noticed on his way to the ring, they had blurred out the Intercontinental Championship.
I noticed that too, and I couldn't figure out why.
Because I noticed after the match, it wasn't blurred out, which was strange. I thought that it may be because I know eventually they started putting the names on the bottom of that belt, and maybe that was it, but then it wasn't on there yet. Like, okay, so why did y'all blur it out? I don't know.
Yeah, at first I was thinking, well, I know they had to change, but look, they were already WWE at this time, so there couldn't have been a WWF thing. I really have no idea. Maybe we'll have to Google that, seek that out.
That's what I thought. I thought, okay, well, maybe the F was on there and they had to blur it up, but then after the match, it wasn't there. So
right. I don't know.
Curious. Very hard hitting match. Obviously, anytime you bring up Chris Benoit, all the stuff comes back. You kind of gotta separate the two. It just is what it is. I mean, it'll never go away. You hear the name Benoit, you just think tragedy.
Yep.
And when you think RVD, you think, oh, it's probably gonna be a damn good match. And these two, hit really hard, and they did. It was a hard hitting match, to say the least. Chris Benoit bleeding from the mouth at one point. I mean, it was just that was his thing. I mean, a glutton for punishment, I guess, is the best way to put it with him. He doesn't want you to take anything off, or he didn't want you to take anything off. He's going to give 110%, so he wants you to do the same. He was just one of those guys, and he was jacked and ripped to the bone every time you saw him. And obviously, you had, like I said, the brand split, and this was weird too, because at the beginning of the match, you had Tony Chimmel and Howard Finkel out there introducing the two separate wrestlers because one's from Raw, one's from SmackDown. Chris Benoit on SmackDown, RVD is from Raw. That's kind of why they had, Stephanie and Eric Bischoff. Okay. The match itself, I thought was good. Better than the last two matches for sure. Thank you. Waking me up a little bit. I honestly thought that Chris Benoit walked away. I don't remember who won this match because I haven't seen this card in years. So it was surprising to me that RVD would get the win here. I did appreciate the turn in motion on the frog splash because Chris Benoit wasn't laying, in the right position, but he was able to turn in midair. And I appreciate that more than watching somebody do this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, Rob Van Dam got the win. Raw gets the Intercontinental Championship back. I gave this pay-per-view worthy because the damn sure deserved it over the after seeing those last two matches. So yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match, and you have to remember, this is 2002. This is before we knew of the terrible tragedy involving Chris Benoit and we'll just say it, murdering his wife and his child, which is, there's no way you can look past that.
Yeah.
But I was a fan of both of these guys. I was really glad. I was a fan of Rob Van Dam when he was in ECW. I was so glad when he finally made it to WWE because I knew that he was a talented guy, and I just felt like he would be a big hit over there, and he was. So I was looking forward to this match. And even though I thought it could have been a little bit better, it wasn't disappointing. It was good. I think these two guys, of course, I think they could have done better, made a better match, but I was still entertained. I thought it was a solid match. Like you said, man, Chris Benoit just not a stiff worker, but man, it was real to him. Another member of Stu Hart's dungeon.
You just made. He wasn't a stiff worker. He just wanted everything to be legit.
Yeah, he was just a strong guy, and like you said, yeah, he just wanted it to be authentic. Mm-hmm. And but I thought these guys would work well together, and they did. I had forgotten that RVD did get the win, but I was glad about that. Like I said, a big fan of both of these guys. I'm trying to remember who I was actually rooting for at the time. And I really believe it was just one of those matches where I was neutral. I really liked both guys. I don't think I really cared. I just expected to see a great match. And while I thought it fell a little bit short of great, it was still very good. So I would go pay-per-view worthy on it.
Yeah, chemistry maybe not at 100%, but they still put in the work, and you can tell that they're getting hard hitting. I mean, Van Dam, those kicks.
Man, he was. I mean, he was really putting it on those kicks.
Yeah,
that looked like something you'd see like in a UFC fight. I mean, he was those kicks. He wasn't taking anything off of those.
And they probably had a conversation beforehand, like, you ain't gotta take nothing off with me. I'm good. Because I'm sure Van Dam has to remember sometimes I can't go 100% because I really will take somebody's head off.
Yeah, those kicks were landing hard.
Educated feet. After that, we had the American Badass versus Test, and this was I don't remember Test being. I mean, he almost looked as big as Taker in this match. I mean, these guys almost looked the same damn size. I don't remember him being that big, but I guess he was.
Test was a 7-footer, wasn't he?
No, he was 6'6", 6'7".
I thought for sure
they are trying to build him at 6'8".
Yeah, they probably exaggerated a little bit, but
he was definitely legitimately 6'6".
Okay.
And I was a Test fan back in the day, back when back when he was first with Stephanie, before Triple H did the whole thing, I liked it.
So you wouldn't have been a testicle. That was before right?
No, I didn't like the whole thing with Stacy Keibler and him. When he got with Prince Albert.
All right, so you were not a testicle. Okay. All right.
No.
All right.
Even back then, I thought that was stupid.
Man,
I didn't think he needed that. I thought he was a badass. You don't need this stupid. You don't need Stacy Keibler, and you definitely don't need this hairy ass dude. But whatever.
Yeah.
This was, and I've always said I've been a fan of the big guys coming into wrestling, because that's what kind of got me into wrestling, was seeing big guys go at it, and not necessarily caring about the in ring, just seeing big. I don't know, to quote Big E, the Big E Langston on WWE, on his quotes,
the fake Big E,
big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah, nice way to put it there.
That's
yeah.
That's what he said.
No, I got you.
But it makes sense. That's what it is. Taker, this was like I said, American Badass Taker coming out on the bike, and Test was part of the Un-Americans, and I thought that for two big guys, they moved really well. I mean, even when you start the match, I mean, these guys are jumping over each other, and it's like, damn, and these guys are closer to 7 feet than they are 6, so that's impressive. Storytelling wise, kind of basic. I would put more of the blame on Test, maybe lacking storytelling, and not. And I mean, he wasn't the greatest in the ring anyway. A lot of wrestlers in the '90s weren't the greatest in the ring. He kind of falls into that. He just was a big guy, had a good look, and Taker did his best in the match. Taker is a one of a kind. Is a gem. He's a big guy that can move and tell a story in the ring. And I thought that it was, just go ahead and get my grade. It was a TV quality match to me. I thought that this would fit on the main event of a Raw. And this would have been a fantastic way to send people home on Raw. Obviously the other stooges come down, Lance Storm and Christian come down, try to interfere, and they get choke slammed for their troubles. Test tries to go get steel chair, and he gets hit with it for his troubles, and Undertaker ends up hitting the tombstone. That's a big man, a tombstone, but I couldn't help but think about the Goldberg match.
Oh man,
because seeing Taker hoist Test up and not just hold him, walk around the ring with him, and then deliver the tombstone. That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm saying, this was awful or anything like that. I just thought it was TV quality again. To be real, Taker obviously should have won. He's the babyface over with the crowd. But yeah, that's all I could go.
Yeah, you were talking about entrance music earlier, and this was a Taker theme song. I had oh wow, I had forgotten about. I remember the American Badass song that he had with Kid Rock, but I'm like, oh, I forgot about this one.
I do remember this one because they actually, I guess somebody took the beat and put lyrics to it eventually. So eventually this song did get lyrics.
Oh, okay.
But my guess is the Kid Rock song and the Limp Bizkit songs, they just ran out of they got tired of paying for it.
That's what I'm guessing too. Yeah. I mean, both of those guys were, Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit were pretty big in the 90s. It probably cost them a little bit of money to
yeah, right. It was a big ticket.
yeah. But as far as the match, look, I don't dislike the big guys. I just don't, they can't do the high flying moves and a lot of the technical stuff we see the smaller guys do. So I prefer that. Although I think Taker is one of the greatest big men to ever do it. But I did not hate this match. I went pay-per-view worthy because maybe it's because I went in with lower expectations. Taker, we know, is a good worker for a big man, still a big man. Test, I never remember thinking of him as much of a wrestler, but I thought these guys put on an entertaining enough match, and a match that exceeded the expectations I had for it. Once again, they were low expectations, but I enjoyed it enough. Taker did win. I expected he would. Test being the Un-American, and Taker, look, man, he's the American Badass, and we know. We know, what a patriot he is also. So
post match.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, going out and getting the flag and holding it up the right way, because the Un-Americans.
Yeah, they throw it upside down. Yeah,
upside down, the distress signal, but for them a term of disrespect. Yeah. But I look, this was a way to pop the crowd. Not the greatest match, but once again, I'm repeating myself, but exceeded my expectations. So I'll go pay-per-view worthy. It just snuck in there. I understand your grade of TV quality, but I'm going to go ahead and give it pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah, I mean, pulling out the American flag is kind of low-hanging fruit. But,
true.
It is what it is.
Do you think a gimmick like the Un-Americans, do you think you could do that today?
If you establish that they're Canadian and you really, 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 really have to hammer that home that they're Canadian, then you probably could. I don't know if you could do the upside down flag t-shirt though.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. The reason why I'm asking is I think they're kind of tempted to do it with Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser.
You could probably do it with them.
Yeah.
It'd be touchy. I mean, everything's touchy nowadays. So
yeah, man. It's such things. I'll just say things are different.
The whole thing with everything going on right now with the oil and inflation and all that stuff, but they could get away with it because I feel like they're established. They were in NXT UK, so everybody kind of knows they're not American. They have strong accents. They have heavy accents, so it's not like we know they're not from America. So it would make sense. It's just, is WWE bold enough to pull that off?
Yeah, I'm enjoying what they're doing with Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, and I kind of hope they push the envelope with them a little bit.
They should. That's unique. I mean, talking about strong heels. I mean, I'll put it out there now. If you did it right with Gunther, maybe give it a year and book him properly. I don't know how long Roman's going to be champ, or even if they put it on Brock, but he could be the next main event type guy that you put in there with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they have to book him right.
Right. Or imagine the type of character that we're talking about. Imagine Gunther taking on the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Oh,
if booked properly, imagine what that could be.
That's Mania. That's Mania,
it
baby.
It is. So I hope, man, look, I know things are touchy these days, but one of the biggest things are heat. You've got to get heat. And I think you could do this in a way where you can get the heat, but not ruffle too many feathers. But you know what, damn it, if you ruffle some feathers, so what? You're not going to make everybody happy, but I think they could work that in a way that would be very effective if they just aren't afraid. Just go for it. Just do it.
Especially with Mania being a worldwide thing, like people come from all over to go to Mania. I mean, I believe we met some people at 24 that were from overseas, and not met, but like bumped into. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And
people come from all over the world.
All over the world, and it's just, man, yeah. So yeah, you're gonna have a split crowd either way you go. But like you said, man, that's something I didn't even think about. American Cody Rhodes and Gunther, man. Yeah, that's money.
Hey.
If booked properly.
Yes, and those, look, man, WWE hasn't always booked things properly, as we well know, but if they did that right, that could be huge.
Yeah. Now, for the time, back in 2002, this was huge. This was a milestone moment for WWE, for wrestling fans, because they never thought they would see this. They never thought they would see this man back in the ring because of serious, real deal back injuries. And I'm talking about Shawn Michaels and Triple H in a non-sanctioned match. And it was fitting. The history of these guys back in 2002 from the Generation X, obviously, we know that Triple H had championship goals. And then right after Shawn Michaels left, after losing to Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H kind of put himself in the title picture, got himself in better shape, as you can see. And I think Shawn was gone for five years.
Yeah, during the telecast, Jim Ross said something about 1,600 and some odd days. So that's somewhere between 4 and 5 years.
Yeah, 'cause I thought WrestleMania 15, that was 98.
98
So,
or
so 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, 4 years. All right. So 4 years, no Shawn Michaels. All right. And in between that time, it's like literally after he retired when I started watching wrestling. So I'm hearing all these rumblings. He was kind of coming back slow. He was like special guest referee a few times on SmackDown and maybe on pay-per-view here and there. And he would do little things, but then I guess he finally got to the point where he could have a match. And this I could kind of tell that they were saving a lot of time built up for this match. Matter of fact, this match went, it's not even close, the longest, 27 minutes and 20 seconds. So yeah, it was the longest match on the card. And anytime these two got in the ring, they were going to have the longest match. Him between these two, and if it was Randy Orton and Triple H, they were going to have the longest matches, period. Okay. Had to take notes on this one because there's a lot of shit that happened. Okay. First thing, it's been a long time since we've seen Shawn Michaels wrestle, so obviously he's got to have a lot of pyro. He had pyro, he had confetti, he had all the shit. And it being, I guess, being non-sanctioned, that's why he wore jeans and kind of regular, or maybe not regular, but like wrestling boots, but cowboy style wrestling boots. For those wondering, Shawn Michaels at the time was 36. Triple H at the time was 32. Shawn Michaels was on offense to start the match. Michaels introduced the trash can. Triple H came back by attacking HBK's back with that nasty backbreaker. Man, backbreakers back then looked real. Like it looked like, yeah, that shit looked painful. This was a hard hitting match. I mean, these two non-sanctioned. I mean, you get a non-sanctioned match today. Now it just means it might as well be a death match where they're just trying to pull out as many tools and stuff as they possibly can. Now these two are telling a story, and it's kind of it's a little bit slower, more methodic, but I appreciated it. Triple H, they introduced a steel chair. Triple H with DDT on the chair, which busts open Shawn Michaels. And then, of course, Hunter has to go for his notorious sledgehammer early. And I like that Earl Hebner wasn't having it. All right, he was. They got into it. He had Triple H in the corner. He was going with. Rest in peace, Earl Hebner, man. I thought he was just as important as the wrestlers back in the day because he was that ref that didn't take no shit. He used to go at Triple H. He went at Stone Cold. Anybody. I'm not here for the shits, okay? Triple H goes for the pedigree on a steel chair, but HBK counters into a low blow. We get the sweet chin music with the steel chair in the Triple H's face. I'm pretty sure that busted him open. 2 men end up fighting on the outside. Shawn beating Triple H with the trash can and the trash can lid. Crowd chants "We want tables." Michaels even hits Triple H in the head with what the Spanish announcer's boot. Took his boot, hit him in the head with it. We got so, and by that point, Triple H was a bloody fucking mess. I mean, he was just, you talking about one of the best bleeders of all time. Shawn sets up a table on the outside, does a splash on Triple H to a table. Crowds chanting "Holy shit!" Shawn pulls out a ladder and he does an elbow drop off the top of the ladder, gets right back up, and he's pumped up. I'm pumped up watching him. And they kind of go for the finishers. He goes sweet chin, gets countered into the pedigree. He counters the pedigree into a roll up and gets the win. Fantastic match. Unfortunately, it's very, very, very short lived. And normally I wait for the post match, but they kind of didn't wait either. So Triple H immediately goes and gets Sledgehammer and clobbers Shawn Michaels in the back. This is not a hand over the hammer part clobber. This was a full-on bow 2 times as Triple H leaves the arena laughing and Shawn Michaels gets stretchered out. One more reason that Triple H was my number one heel on the countdown we did. Shit like this. For a number of reasons, this match, for me, is an instant classic. It is the return of Shawn Michaels. This match, the crowd was hanging on everything that he did because they haven't seen Shawn in so long. And I thought Triple H was just as nasty and diabolical as he could be. He just emitted heelish asshole. Don't like me. You don't need to like me. And it was all perfect. And then to attack the man after the match, just yeah. But it is one of those matches that people go back and reference. So for that, it's an instant classic.
Yeah, well, let me get my nitpicky shit out of the way first, okay? I don't like the non-sanctioned thing. Call it anything. Call it a street fight. Call it an anything goes. Don't call it a no holds barred. But how is a match non-sanctioned when it's taking place in a WWE ring in an arena that WWE has rented?
Yep.
With a WWE referee.
Yep.
Who is, as you referenced, stopping Triple H from using the sledgehammer. Okay, nitpicky shit.
Yeah.
Get rid of the whole non-sanctioned.
Obviously,
you sanctioned it. It's happening on your card. Yeah, obviously, you sanctioned it. Okay.
The same thing. All that just said, out there.
Yeah. With all of that said, instant classic. And here's why. First of all, to me, the greatest wrestling stories are somewhat based in reality. Well, we all know that when Shawn Michaels left wrestling, it looked like he might never, ever wrestle again. The greatest in-ring performer, and you know how much I love Ric Flair and I love Bret Hart, but I have said it. Shawn Michaels, to me, is the single greatest, if you're just talking strictly in-ring, the greatest in-ring performer I have ever seen. So to see the end of his career so prematurely, it was sad. And then to see him 4 years later come back, and there's this great story. He and Triple H used to be, buddies, good friends.
Yeah.
And Triple H, man, completely reinvented himself, just become this total badass, total asshole. Like you said, one of the greatest heels of all time. So Shawn Michaels is coming back. We're already invested. I couldn't stand Shawn Michaels, but in this match, I was actually rooting for Shawn. One of the rare times I was rooting for Shawn. I love Triple H, even though he was a heel, but he was such a bastard. And
JR and JR made it even more so you would hate him because he would call him a bastard and an asshole.
He did. So everything about this match, the build-up, the heat between the two, Shawn coming in as the underdog because, you've been out 4 years. And, man, we know, look, a broken back, that's just not something that just gets better. You're always going to have some lingering effects of that. All of that coming into the ring, and then the story they told. Triple H, obviously, going for the back, just trying to, that's what you would expect. And then as the match goes, Shawn the underdog, it looks like Triple H is just going to beat him pretty easily. But Shawn starts to come back. Shawn pulls a ladder out from under the ring. Well, obviously, everybody's going to pop for that. We know that Shawn is one half of arguably the greatest ladder match ever. He and Razor Ramon. Okay, so the crowd is automatically going to pop for that. They're gonna get excited about that. As the match goes on, it's a complete roller coaster. Me, along with the rest of the audience, and probably you, I'm just hanging on everything. I'm going back and forth, like, oh man, what is going to happen here? The drama. It was incredible to watch. And then Shawn finally pulls out the victory. Everybody is elated. Both guys have bled. It's been everything you would expect based on the rivalry and the buildup. And we get this great moment of elation. Shawn wins, and then Triple H, this asshole,
very, very, very short-lived.
Yeah, hits him with the sledgehammer. So you go from being elated to being like, oh, what the fuck?
Wait.
I can't believe it. Are you serious? The roller coaster of emotions in this match, the story they told, it's rare. It's rare when you see this, and it's rare when you see guys of this caliber. We're talking 2 Hall of Famers. We didn't know it at the time. We did about Shawn. Triple H, he was still working on his, but I think we could see it coming. But we now know that Shawn is definitely a Hall of Famer. Triple H, it's only a matter of time, definitely a Hall of Famer. To see these guys probably both at the peak of their greatness in a match like this is extremely rare. Absolutely, this match is an instant classic.
Yeah. When Shawn's at the top of the ladder and he's pointing to the crowd and saying, he loves them, and he goes for the elbow drop. It's moments like that sucked me in, and he popped right back up, and he was like getting hyped. I was like, yes,
yeah, man,
about. Man, that's what's missing from the day. Yeah, but one of the things that I herald Triple H for is fantastic storytelling. He and normally today, especially with WWE, they telegraph a lot of what they do. You can see a lot of stuff coming, and the fact that there's no way. And I've seen this match before, and I didn't remember it was that fast that he attacked Shawn Michaels after the match. That was fast, and the fact that it wasn't one of these kind of things where he, like I said, hand wasn't. That was a full-on sledgehammer shot.
Yep.
2 of them.
Yep.
To the back. So yeah. That wasn't the last time they locked up. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So I don't even know if we want to address this shit.
Oh man, are you gonna talk about? Okay, look, man, you're talking about the Fink and Trish.
Yeah, this whole thing with Howard Finkel and Trish Stratus and Lillian Garcia. God damn it. Lillian Garcia trying to wrestle. Is this what this was? Her attempt at.
Well, that wasn't even the worst part about the segment. I mean, Howard Finkel talking about Trish Stratus's puppies and his wiener. I was out. That was it. Everything that happened after that was I was just like, get them out of the ring. This is just foul. It's just nasty. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to see it. Why is it on my TV screen? There you go. I knew we would see it sometime. I knew we would, and definitely this is the opportune time for that.
If it was a match or like a real, this was obviously the kill time, but yeah.
This is your legacy, MJ Book. You're still a part of this show, always, brother.
Always. I'm trying to find that one he used, but I found a few cool ones. I got a different one too. I'm gonna use, but yeah. They could have just went to the match. They didn't need to do this at all. Lillian falling down trying to do some shit. All right, get to the main event here. There, the moment everybody been waiting on. Brock Lesnar versus The Rock for the undisputed WWE Championship. I've watched this match so many times over the last 20 years. As a matter of fact, I remember it was you, me, and my mom. We watched this match. It was probably 10 years ago now. But we were all kind of just sitting around, just putting random stuff on one night. And this is one thing.
That. Yeah.
Again, I've never seen The Rock more intense, more animated for a match than this one. Earlier today, I sent y'all like some video packages and some training montages of The Rock, like running the Orange Bowl, doing the box jumps, doing all that stuff he did at the time. I mean, he wasn't physically as big as he is now. Obviously, he's not traveling as much. He has more time. He has his own private gyms and stuff, so he can get bigger. I mean, he's older now, but he just has more of a regimen. Um, but he was still in shape. Don't get me wrong. And the thing I remember, because this is one of those phases in life where I was not as glued to wrestling. I was kind of in tune, but not watching every week. And I saw that this was going to be the match. I was like, "There's no way." And I love The Rock. There's no way he's beating Brock. He's too big. They booked him as they booked Goldberg. So I just kind of knew even going to the match back then that Brock wasn't winning. He'll probably put up a good fight because he's The Rock, and they're going to make him look good, but he's not going to win. And that's how it played out. Rock comes out, as Taz put it, like gangbusters at the entrance ramp, laying the belt down and kind of mocking Brock a little bit and sprinting to the ring and going right at Brock. But Brock immediately with that belly to belly suplex. Suplex City started way before WrestleMania 31. He was suplexing people back then. Brock was on offense for the majority of the beginning of the match. Rock would eventually turn the tables. This was back when Paul Heyman would interfere with the match. And then he did that quite a bit in this one, pulling the Rock's leg and just getting on the ring apron and distracting, especially when Rock had Brock in the sharpshooter. And eventually Paul Heyman would get rock bottom through a table. Not the cleanest rock bottom, but you know. Right. I just appreciated how animated The Rock was. I mean, if you haven't seen this match, please go back and watch it because he was so intense and and the crowd was just split. You had, I can't even say it was 50-50. It was like 30-30, 40. 40% was for Brock Lesnar and 30% was for The Rock and 30% was against The Rock because let's just put it out there. People knew that The Rock was transitioning to Hollywood and that he was leaving and that this would be his last match for a while. He was still in the contract, but he was going to be leaving for a while. And people back then, WWE fans, they were really, we don't want you to leave. You don't leave us. So when you did, they turned on you. That's kind of how that worked. I like the psychology in the match. Both men were laid out at one point, and The Rock was known for his nymph up at that point. But for them to do it at the same time, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Rock hits the rock bottom, and Brock kicks out, and then Brock turns around, and hits the Brock bottom, and then Rock kicks out, and lo and behold, the one move that The Rock's put away the millions and millions of opponents with the people's elbow would be his downfall, as he wouldn't even be able to complete it as he gets clotheslined, hit with an F5, and that would be the end of his Undisputed Championship reign, as Brock Lesnar would become, at the time, the youngest WWE champion and also undefeated at the time. They just didn't highlight the undefeated part. I feel like you could go either way just because of the history on the match, the fan interaction on the match. But I'm going to go superb for those reasons. There was a lot that went into this match. The fan interaction was a huge part of it. The Rock being so intense. I thought Brock did a great job as well. Heyman did a great job as the heel manager. Is the wrestling in the match top notch? No. It's all the surrounding parts put this thing together, and everybody remembers this match, Brock versus Rock, for the first time. We even thought we were going to get the rematch at WrestleMania 32, the first time they went to Dallas. That was kind of what they were trying to get. And they probably would have got it if Rock didn't get injured at 29. So, all that being said, yeah, superb for me. I think the right man did win. because you had to set up for the future if Rock especially is going to Hollywood, transitioning to Hollywood. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Great match, and yeah.
Man, I'm superb too. And to me, there's no doubt. I'm firmly in the superb camp on this one. Like you said, is the wrestling the greatest? No, but I don't expect great wrestling from either one of these guys, even though we know that Brock has a collegiate background. It just, the way you book him, that's just not going to translate. You know, he's a big, badass dude. He has to do big, badass things.
Mm-hmm.
And you talked about how intense The Rock was leading into all this. And The Rock had to know that he was going to be putting Brock over. That's a testament to him as a great wrestler and as a ambassador to the sport. We all know about his family background and his respect for the sport. That he would go all in, knowing that he's getting Brock over. Brock was the right guy at this time. I mean, Brock was an absolute freak. I mean, you look at this guy and he's just scary to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You see him walk down that ring, and man, that hop up on to the apron, that apron's like 3-4 feet in the air, and he's just hopping up on it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even think about the thing I think about is, and Montez Ford did it recently, but Rey Mysterio on this card flipping over the ref and over the top rope to the floor.
Well, yeah.
Like that's high. You're really high up. Like there's a lot of room for error.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you said, to jump up there and being that big. Yeah.
But I think these guys, given their limited in-ring work, and when I say limited, I mean, as far as like the technical aspect of it.
Yeah, they're not Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole in there.
No, but they look what they have to work with. I thought they used it to their advantage. I thought what they did worked. And I thought it told a good story. And I thought, even though I think most of us kind of knew that Brock would be going over, there were times where I thought, wait a minute, maybe Rock pulls this out. Maybe, I don't know. And so that's good storytelling. When I think I already know the outcome, but you can convince me that maybe I'm wrong, that you're doing a good job. Now, even though it went Brock's way, like I said, that doesn't take away from the match. Couldn't go instant classic because of the lack of technical wrestling, which I kind of have, an affinity for. Still, though, definitely superb. And to me, it's not even a question of whether or not I feel comfortable definitely putting in its superb category.
Yeah. I mean, it was an iconic moment, and it made a star.
It did.
It put Brock Lesnar into the stratosphere, and they had to have somebody had to take those reins.
And I think they mentioned during the telecast that Brock had only been in WWE for 5 months at the time. That just tells you how quickly his star rose. And I mean, that's a lot to put on any kid's shoulders. I mean, look, the Brock we know now, obviously, legend, future Hall of Famer, but you have to remember he's a 20-something-year-old kid at this time. 5 months into the business, and you're making him the guy. That's a lot of pressure. But as we all know now, Brock was the right guy at the right time.
Yep. And it was only appropriate that we did this retrospective because one of the people in that main event is going to be in the main event this year, going up against not The Rock, but The Rock's cousin. And I said, and I didn't even catch myself, but I said Brock had to take the reins, and hey, no pun intended, but we're gonna get The Rock and Jesus Christ. We're gonna get Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar this year at SummerSlam. And now we've seen this match a million, billion, trillion times. Okay. But they're promising us this is the last time. It's a last man standing match. And Who knows what the true outcome will be? If we're gonna get cashing or not. I hope we don't. I hope Austin Theory holds on to that for a little while longer. I think he could really do some stuff with that. But I can't even predict even now who's gonna win because I don't know. At WrestleMania, I kind of knew. I thought, yeah, for sure Roman's got to win because he's never beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and they're running with Roman. Right now, I have no idea.
It's funny because with Brock in the match, you really can't ever count him out. But I do feel, and you talked about how it's appropriate doing the retro that we're doing now with the upcoming match.
Mm-hmm.
My prediction, well, we're going to do predictions, but I guess I'm kind of going to,
yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, show my hand. I feel like if they really want to establish Roman, this is the way to do it. And what we might be seeing is Brock Lesnar taking a role that a lot of these veteran wrestlers take. Okay, I'm here, but I'm really not that top guy anymore. My job now is to get these other younger guys over. So, it could be full circle. The retro we just did was Brock's star rising at a very young and early age. This SummerSlam could be where we see that star finally start to fall after all these years, where maybe, you're not that dude anymore. There's younger, more hungry guys. Your time has passed. It's these other guys' times now. That's what I'm thinking. So it could be full circle. You never know. I'm not saying Brock goes fully away because, man, Brock, the crowd is always going to pop.
Oh no, he signed like a 4-year deal last year. So
yeah. But I mean, but will we ever see him like as the top guy?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm curious. And then
I'll give my prediction now. I think Brock's gonna win.
I do too. I think Brock has to win. If you really want to establish him as the guy, I mean, Roman has to win. Now you talk about Theory. I think it's a good tease because it adds intrigue to the card. But do I really see Theory cashing in and beating either one of these guys? No. I do think Theory should hold on to it, but you have to remember what's going to go on between him and Dolph Ziggler. Is there something there? I guess we can find out.
I think that's the match that those two have on SummerSlam. I think it's a damn good one.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's the only time you see Theory. It could be. I don't want them to do it that night. If this is the climax of this feud, let them have their finish. Let them finish it off. Let it be done. And let's not do this anymore. Let Theory build him up some more. Give him some wins. Let him beat Dolph Ziggler. Let them have the show stealer match of the night, and then let him continue to rack up wins, going to the Royal Rumble. Maybe not win the Rumble, but being the guy eliminating a lot of people. Like build him up. I'm with you that they got something with Theory. I just don't want them to rush it and mess it up. You know what I'm saying?
Man, the points you made, I echo wholeheartedly. I think they do have something with him, but
heel.
Right, he is.
Great heel.
But don't rush it. There's no need, and nobody is going to buy Theory beating either Roman or Brock. No,
that's how bad it is. Even with a briefcase, ain't nobody believing that shit.
Right. And I mean, you could see how it would be believable if what we're led to believe, a last man standing between these two, there's probably going to be blood. Probably both guys are going to bleed. It's going to be physical. And you could see how Theory would say, hey, that's the right time. Because even the winner, whoever the winner is, it's going to be such a grueling match. You could see how he would think that's his opportunity, but it's not the right time. So I'm just hoping it doesn't happen. Maybe he'll come down the ramp. He'll tease it, but because we've seen that happen before. He'll tease it, but he won't actually cash it in. Maybe we'll see something like that, but I'd like to see him hold on to it longer, see what happens at Mania.
Or cashes in and just loses. There's no shame in losing to either one of those guys. Nobody's going to be like, oh, he lost to Brock or he lost to Roman.
That's true, but look, he just lost the U.S. heavyweight title to Bobby, so the briefcase is the only thing keeping him really kind of relevant now. If he loses that a couple of months after losing the heavyweight title, then you really start to kind of hurt dude a little bit, because then where do you go with him?
Well, I think you can, and it's all with the booking, right? So you have him lose. I mean, that's what heels do. It makes them more intriguing. Okay, well, now I have to come up with something else to do.
Yeah, because look, he's not going to win the Rumble. If Cody's back,
No.
Cody's winning the Rumble.
Yeah.
I mean, so then, you know, I guess you get him some other title.
Cody's already like, I'm trying to adhere to the schedule, but try to come back too. I was like, dude, chill out, man. We appreciate you. We know you didn't have to wrestle Hell in a Cell. You did anyway, and it was very visible. The thing you had going on. You know,
well, look, and I don't want to, you know, belabor the point. I'll just make this point about the main event quick, because we both have been critical about the main event. We have seen that match a million times, but with it being a last man standing, which we know should be brutal, and then the added intrigue of what Theory is going to do, they're doing their best to at least make this main event interesting or intriguing. They're doing the best they can with it.
Yeah, we shall see. Next week, SummerSlam 2022. I'm hoping that I'll be able to watch live. I'm trying to get the day off. See, there's a couple reasons I need the day off, but worst case scenario, we'll do post show Sunday. That's the worst case.
Yeah, because it is on a Saturday this year.
It's on Saturday, yeah. So that's the worst case scenario. Make sure you check out our other shows we got going on. We got our Independence Day movie review from 4th of July. We've got, I know we haven't done one in a while, but we've got a few, you know, Farm Preachers up. Y'all can always go back and look at those. Go look at the archives with the Farm Preacher Trying to Laugh videos. We did, I haven't done it yet, but I'm debating on doing a Thor movie review and also a Jurassic World Dominion movie reviews. We'll see. Marine is the next bad movie review we'll be doing. And then after that, we've got another one already lined up I'm talking to Doc about, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm working with his schedule. He was supposed to be on tonight, so.
Missed you, Doc.
Yep. But got that. Make sure you hit us up on all the socials. Instagram at Third Generation Wrestling Podcast. Sorry. On Instagram. Twitter is podcast_third. Email us at thirdgenwrestling@gmail.com. And you can follow us on TikTok as well. And put some more clips up. Third Generation Wrestling Pod on TikTok. So yeah. As always, we're trying to, you know, elevate and bring new stuff to the show. Like I said, adding TikTok, trying to add equipment, make this show more legit and fun for you all. And I guess this week I'm going to try. My work schedule is god freaking awful right now. That's why we haven't been doing any trying to laugh videos. It's not a want. It's a, by the time I get home, I'm dog ass tired. I don't have the energy to do anything, and I don't feel like it's fair to put out bad quality content. I don't feel like that's fair. So, we're doing our best with what we got. So, hope you all enjoyed the show. Check us out. Email us. Hit that like button. Subscribe and share. Let your friends know. We appreciate it. And Ambassador, take us home.
Hey, y'all know what it is. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We've been doing this for a while, and we're still grinding. Want to get better. Want to build an audience. Tell your friends, and we just really appreciate y'all. My wife, your mom, is having a birthday tomorrow. I am not going to say how old she is because I don't want to get busted in the head. But happy birthday, baby, and I love you.
Oh yeah. Happy birthday, Mom, and we will catch you all hopefully sometime this week, and hopefully we can bring y'all at least one Trying to Laugh challenge. Hope you all enjoyed SummerSlam 2002. Enjoy SummerSlam 2022 this Saturday. And we'll speak to y'all again soon. Take care.